use it and communicate with, I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Constant, quick hits of dopamine.
Confirms your beliefs about the world.
Kids today are facing a mental health crisis.
Mental health crisis.
A mental health crisis.
Must cooperate with Chinese intelligence.
The sooner we ban this, the better.
Our phones have become an invaluable part of our lives, joining the ranks of our wallet and keys and things that we can't leave the house without. For many of us, we've never had it any other way. Through the use of social media, these platforms let us escape reality at a moment's notice. And as we'll discuss, by using our phones more intentionally, we can avoid the harmful effects of digital escapism.
On your mark, get set.
We're riding on the internet.
But this is not necessarily a problem that's new to our generation. While the widespread nature of this phenomenon is new, we can learn from authors of the past about issues surrounding technologies that promote escapism. There's no better example of this than Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, published almost a century ago in 1932. In this timeless piece, Huxley describes an oppressive regime called the world state, which exerts control by conditioning its citizens from birth and exposing them to a drug called Soma. This drug promotes complacency in the world state by allowing the user to escape from any negative thoughts or emotions in the real world. While the world state's police force can release this drug into the air to calm protests, the most concerning part of this is that citizens have been conditioned into taking this drug willingly and enjoying it. One such form of conditioning is the saying, "A gram is better than a dam," meaning that it's better just to take a gram of Soma instead of confronting any unhappiness that could be occurring in their lives. Through sayings like this, citizens of the world state learn to accept Soma as part of their everyday lives, not even thinking about questioning the drug or the greater society they live in. Those in power in the world state aren't even secretive about this fact because of their citizens' complacency. Towards the end of the book, where John, one of the main characters, confronts one of the world controllers, Mustafa Mond says matter-of-factly that if anything unpleasant should somehow happen, why, there's always Soma to give you a holiday from the facts. John grew up in a part of the world that wasn't subject to this form of conditioning, and eventually went on to take his own life after succumbing to the widespread availability to Soma himself. Even though smartphones wouldn't come about until almost 80 years after Brave New World was written, it serves as an important parallel to the widespread use of our phones and social media today. While the reader is just meant to accept that Soma is addictive because it's labeled as a drug, the addictive nature of modern technology is a bit more disguised. Without phones, social media would be nowhere near as addicting as we see it today. Matt Davala, a filmmaker on YouTube, says it best.
We're in front of screens all day, from our laptops and tablets to our televisions. But I think there's something uniquely addictive about the phone. Unlike the larger devices that we use, it fits in our pocket. We carry it around everywhere we go and passively consume content in bed, on the toilet, in line at the grocery store, and in between reps. The addiction is enabled through the convenience and accessibility of the device, if not our own social anxieties.
As he explains, the addictiveness of social media is due in part from its ubiquity in our lives. Whenever we're faced with boredom or unhappiness in our lives, the option is always there to pull out our phones. That brings us to the second factor of social media addictiveness, the constant stream of notifications. Whenever you pull out your phone, your brain anticipates some sort of reward. You get to see if anyone snapped you or liked your post or whatever else it may be. Tristan Harries, a whistleblower from Google, explains how this is analogous to a slot machine.
This thing is a slot machine.
How's that a slot machine?
Well, every time I check my phone, I'm playing the slot machine to see what did I get. This is one way to hijack people's minds and create a habit, to form a habit. What you do is you make it so when someone pulls a lever, sometimes they get a reward, an exciting reward. And it turns out that this design technique can be embedded inside of all these products.
Given that these notifications are the first thing many of us see in the morning after turning off our alarms, they have an extreme amount of influence over us from the second we wake up. And as soon as we open up one of these social media platforms, they have us hooked. From that point on, they'll throw everything they can at us to keep us scrolling. From algorithms trained to our exact needs and desires, to little hits of dopamine when we see someone interacted with our posts. All of these techniques with the simple goal of getting us to watch more ads and collect as much information about us as possible to target those ads. Some might argue that the social media platforms provide a way for us to connect with people we might otherwise never have a chance to meet, and that this connectivity can have positive effects on our lives. While this is true, it's important to consider the potential consequences of our dependence on these platforms. Just like the citizens of the world state, we might be trading real-life experiences and genuine connections for superficial and fleeting interactions on our screens. So, what can we do to combat the addictive nature of social media and use our phones more intentionally? Here are some actionable steps that you can take. First, you can disable unimportant information from social media apps. You can change which types of notifications you see for a specific app in its settings, or turn them off entirely in your phone settings. You can also change where you see notifications, such as disabling those little red badges you see on your home screen. Second, you might want to stop using certain social media features that are particularly addicting. Take streaks on Snapchat, for example, which are specifically designed to keep you coming back to the app every day to increase that little number that means absolutely nothing. Ending streaks isn't a big deal, and you can just post on your story about how you're taking a break from Snapchat. It's not the end of the world, and it will dramatically improve your relationship with your phone. Finally, it's worth looking into certain apps that can help manage your screen time. One that I found recently is called 1sec, which will make you take a deep breath before opening certain social media apps. You always have the option to open the app, but it makes you take a quick second to think about whether you really need to look at that certain app right now. This removes the instant gratification of social media and makes these apps less appealing to your brain. In conclusion, while the addictive nature of social media and smartphones might not be as overt as in Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, the parallels are pretty striking. By recognizing these connections, we can take steps to use our devices more intentionally and avoid the pitfalls of digital escapism. Remember, it's not about completely abandoning technology, but rather about finding a balance that allows us to enjoy the benefits of connection while still embracing the richness of our offline experiences.